And hello, movie lovers. And today I have Crichton Hobbs with me. We're going to be doing a little bit of movie news. We actually have should we be excited about the Daredevil Reboot series? We also have some other movie news. So go ahead, go over to Spotify, go over to wherever you guys get your podcast from, and just rate me over there. Tell us what you think about Movie Lovers Unite. And without further ado, let's get on with the show. All right. Hey, Crichton, how you doing?
Hi, hey, how's everybody doing out there in YouTube land?
I'm hoping that they're doing great. Uh,
Ah,
so But anyways, man, welcome to the show. We actually did our Ozark review last week. Well, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did our Ozark review. But
yeah,
now here we are again, and we're actually going to be talking about should we be excited about the Daredevil reboot series? This is a question that has remained with me since yesterday. It's like as soon as they announced it, I'm like, should I be excited or should I not be excited? Because at first I'm like, I want to be excited with everybody, but I'm seeing everybody react in the comment section about, oh, this is a great idea. I'm excited for it, things like that. But me, on
I'm
the
one
other
of them.
hand, right. And then I'm like, I want to be excited, but I can't because I'm like, okay, what is the tone for this TV
Right.
series? Is this going to
Hmm.
match up to what Netflix is doing? Is this going to be a family friendly atmosphere than what we're used to? Because we already saw that Kingpin is clearly different from the Netflix version that we got. And then
Hmm.
we have Charlie Cox showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home, which only suspects,
Yeah.
that they are in fact going to be having Daredevil in the MCU. But
Yeah.
it makes some things questionable. And I just wanted some context, and I'll let you get on with your thoughts though
Hmm.
too, Crichton. But um, IGN actually reported this, and a Daredevil reboot is reportedly set to enter production and will apparently be a Disney Plus MCU series. The latest issue of Production Weekly, which provides listings of pre-production or in-production projects for film professionals, include a section for a show simply referred to as Daredevil Reboot. The show is listed as a Disney Plus series currently in development with head of Marvel Studios Kevin Feige and Chris Gray. Marvel's Behind the Mask mentioned as producers. No timing is given for when the show would begin production, however, nor which actors would be involved. The listing also includes a synopsis for the show, but this appears to be based on descriptions of the original Netflix series. So basically, everything is hushed, of course. We already knew that Charlie Cox will be returning to play, like I mentioned, whenever he returned from Matt Murdock, Daredevil in the MCU, but it hasn't been clear on what kind of project that character would appear. One major question is what kind of reboot this would be. Should it become a finished project? Matt Murdock's cameo appearance in Spider-Man Way No Home didn't even give much away, but did show a character who looked and acted extremely similar to the Daredevil we saw not on Netflix. With that in mind, this could be more of a reboot in the sense of firmly tying the show into the current Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, with the multiverse now firmly in play, it's possible this could be more drastic reboot, altering the character's backstory in some way.
Hmm.
So there you go.
All right. So let me just say this: for I will speak for most people that love Charlie Cox. This right here, John. Can you see this? This is
Yeah.
my money. Take it. Just take my
Okay.
money, take it, because I
Okay.
want Charlie Cox as Daredevil. You had me right at there. That's. I was like, take my money, Disney. I just
Right.
and now will it be more family friendly? Honestly, it's one of those where Disney is so tight lipped. Usually, they don't have loose lips because, well, when you work on a show, their shows, they make you sign not only NDAs, non disclosure agreements, but it's like you talk, you get sued, and you'll never work at Disney. So they don't talk at all. But I think with all of the great minds like Kevin Feige, right, and um, all the other people that have made successful Marvel Disney shows, I don't think that they're gonna let this show be a screw the pooch kind of thing. I don't think it. They've got too much
That's fake.
because yeah, they to me it's looking at it on a business side of it. They know if they screw it up, people are going to be like, "Nah, sorry Disney, I'm not going to give you. Yeah, I'm not going to keep subscribing to Disney Plus." But if they like the first show, guess what? You'll keep paying
Right.
to keep watching it, and they know right then. All they got to do. It's kind of like She-Hulk. You know how
Right.
everybody was like how they are with Daredevil right now, and then when you saw the trailer, you was like, "Oh my god, this is better than what I thought." You know,
I don't know about that. There's been a lot
you
of
know,
controversy with the CGI
right?
aspect of it because of the fact that, the CGI aspect, but of course, you know this. Whenever
Yeah,
you look at a teaser trailer, for example,
yeah.
it, your special effects are not done yet. So therefore, they can't
Hmm.
apply it into the trailer to give you that look. But I promise you, they're
Yeah.
going to probably touch that up. It's just
Oh,
that they're
sure.
like, but no one was really glamoring and wondering where the She-Hulk trailer was. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking that the studios are like, you know what? Let's go in and push this out. We have
Yeah.
Obi-Wan dropping soon. So
Yeah.
let's go on ahead and drop this out and let everybody know, hey, look, don't forget, we have another Marvel property coming out, which is She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But going off of what you said about Daredevil and stuff like that, and by the way, I'll give you my Vimo information so you can give me the money that you just showed me.
Hey, right.
So,
Yeah.
but but here's the thing though. I love Charlie Cox. I'm glad that he's coming back. I'm
Mhm.
glad Francis D'Onofrio is coming back as Kingpin.
Yeah.
But also too, Disney is more of a family oriented thing as well. And
Mhm.
the thing that I'm scared of is the fact that we're so used to having this R-rated mature content for
Yeah.
Daredevil, and it's gonna be watered down. And this is also the same thing that John Bernthal said too regarding the Punisher and everything to
Yeah.
do. He's like, I'm not coming back if it's just gonna be a watered down version of what we got,
Yeah.
what it is. And these two characters, to me, I wish that Kevin Feige would do this. Is
Yeah.
have a Marvel Knights studio separate from the Marvel universe,
Oh gosh. Yeah.
and have your rated R characters in a studio based off those rated R characters. You can have Ghost Rider, Jessica Jones,
Hmm.
Blade, all in one umbrella, and then you can use them in like little small nuggets into the MCU, just sprinkling them there and there.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
it's just something that I'm worried about. I'm hoping that the tone stays the same and it's a continuation of where the Netflix series left off at. Now, if you want to go on ahead later on, after you finish off the Netflix stuff, and then you want to go ahead and go drop it into the MCU stuff, go ahead and do that. I just would like to see a finished up property of the Netflix series
Right.
where they left off at.
Yeah. They and it's a real slippery slope, if you will. It's kind of like they know they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, kind of thing. So it's like uh, what, and I would think that if they just rebooted it, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of people mad and upset. But for the people that's brand new to it, that because honestly, there's in the movie business, a day is equal to a year, basically. I mean, it's just that time span of people's memories are kind of short term, except for comic book fans. We know our stuff. We really know
Right.
it. It's kind of like asking Star Wars people. We know our timelines. And even,
True.
but it's like, but for somebody that's just getting into watching comic movies or something, and if they rebooted it, all right, well, let's see what you do. Let's see a new reboot. But it's kind of weird if they did it that way because there's so much
Now there's like
content,
a soft reboot. Well, if
Yeah, a
there's like a
soft
soft,
reboot.
I'm
Hmm.
okay with.
Yeah,
As long as you
I
give us
would see that.
context.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that I think would not get so many hardcore comic fans so upset
Wound up.
type
Right.
thing. You know what I mean? If I was Disney, well, you know, if I was Disney, I would be doing this podcast from the Bahamas. But
Me too. I could use something
yeah,
tropical in my life. But,
right,
I just think that it's like I want to be excited, but at the same time, I want to know what I'm getting. I want to know more concrete stuff of what I'm getting.
hmm
That's the
yeah,
thing. I was always taught to question things before getting excited about something. And if that emptiness is there of like, what am I getting excited for? What's my
yeah,
anticipation going to be? Now, if you go ahead and get of course, I find up finding out that they just got the writers and stuff like that too today.
yeah,
Well, so they got them. I forgot the writers and everything, but they do have some type of involvement. At least they have that said and done. But at the
good.
same time, it's like, what's the tone? What's that's going to be like, and how does it connect into a cohesive story with the MCU? That's the big
hmm
question.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I mean, honestly, just I really do think that it's gonna be like, you know, going from rated R ratings from like a rated R thing to like PG-13 type thing. And the reason I say that is because doesn't Disney have like the original Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and all that on their app or going to?
yeah. No, they already have them. They already have all the Daredevil stuff, all the Jessica Jones
Okay.
stuff. All that is on
Yeah.
their app. It's just under the parental guidance
You
part
see,
of the
yeah.
app.
Okay. So see,
And
that
right,
tells me right there that they've already laid groundwork and they haven't had an exodus of people canceling their
right,
subscriptions. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
to me, it sounds like Disney was doing that and testing the waters to see how far they could probably push it to, you know.
That's one way of looking at it. I didn't think of it in that kind of context.
Mhm.
Everything too. So thank you for bringing that part up because
Yeah,
I didn't look at it from that kind of thing. I looked at it from a consumer aspect and also to the rights
sure.
going back over to Disney. So I looked at it into
Yeah,
that direction. I didn't think of it into another part of the consumerism where basically you wind up getting the mature content and seeing how that goes without people unsubscribing. So that's actually a good call on that.
right.
But let's go on ahead. I want to move on into the fans declaring full Marvel boycott over series following Sam Wilson's replacement. But also, too, this also it's not so much as the replacement or anything like that. Basically, what I want to talk about is this: a lot of fans are actually in an uproar because of the fact that Peggy Carter, which made a small cameo in Doctor Strange, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but she does make a small cameo appearance. As a matter of fact, her stupid shield shows up on the poster of Doctor Strange. Look closely, you can
Yeah,
see the shield. So the Britain flag shield is actually planted onto the poster. But people are in uproar because of the fact that giving Peggy Carter a TV series or a movie instead of
yeah,
giving it over to Sam, which is Falcon.
yeah.
And here's the thing: there's two sides of the coin that I see here. First part, I can understand them getting mad because of the fact that it's been since March of 2021
Yeah.
that they announced that they were going to go ahead and do another Falcon and the Winter show or just another Captain America show. We haven't seen anything, any kind of news reports regarding anything since then. So I can
hmm
understand them getting into an uproar because we haven't heard anything. And
Right.
then also too, we have Peggy Carter who made her appearance in the What If series, and of course everybody's been clamoring for a Peggy story. Anyways,
hmm
because I think she got 2 seasons and then they canceled it,
Yeah.
or was it
Yeah.
1 season that they canceled? I think it was two.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
season. She only had 2 seasons and they canceled it. And people have been clamoring for a Peggy story, but at the same time, pretty much that has been faded away.
hmm
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's everybody is now
Yeah.
clamoring for a Falcon and Winter Soldier show and not
Yeah.
wanting a Peggy show that much anymore. At least from what I know. Yeah, there might be a small amount of fans. I mean, if
Sure.
you're one of those fans, you're 1 in a million out of a billion people. You're only
Right.
one, right?
Yeah.
So only one commodity.
Yeah.
But what do you think
Right.
though?
Okay. So, you know, from what I know, is that Anthony Mackie, the guy who played Falcon, right? He is building a major studio in Louisiana. I'm talking, this is a monster of a studio. And this is coming from other filmmakers and studios that I know in Louisiana. They're like, good God, when he's done with this, I mean, the projects from insider information is like it's just an endless thing that he could do. He could never ever have to work for Disney for the rest of his life. The only reason he would want to do it or work for become Falcon again is one, if they paid him a lot of money, which they would, but two, if he wanted to, reprise that character and say, yes, all right, I want to do it because I love it so much. Other than
Well,
that, he's got
well,
his future made
right.
with it.
And Anthony has signed on to do more Falcon
Yeah.
stuff if they decide that they wanted to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
basically,
Yeah.
what you wind up doing as a director or a studio, you wind up making these actors sign a contract, and it's
Sure.
just in case
Yeah.
that you
Mm-hmm.
want them to come and do a show. It's
Yeah.
not guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
that it's going to happen, but it's just in
Right.
case of anything. But they
Yeah.
made the announcement, so it's a sure thing. But what's happening with it? It's just like the
Right.
Blue Beetle movie that
It's
for
yeah.
DC. Everyone's like, "Oh, good, we finally got a Latino character that people can actually something that can
Yeah.
represent them." And you don't hear anything more about it. It's swept
I
underneath the
know.
rug.
I know.
So it's the same thing with this
It's
too.
yeah. It sounds like to me there's like some higher up. To me, it sounds like politics up in Disney, politicking. Somebody probably got mad at somebody about something, and it was like, well, I ain't got to do this show. I can do this show, or to me, that's what it kind of feels like to me. It seems like they're like, well, this one can go over here, and well, I'll just concentrate on this one,
Right.
and then it's up to everybody else to try to make it interesting for consumers like us to watch it,
Right.
but we're all sitting here screaming, please give us more Falcon, but
But it's
the
all
up in,
about right.
yeah, up in
Well,
that
also
world, who knows?
also too is about fitting the tone and the narrative of the story that you want to tell, and if that
Yeah,
character fits the narrative of your story, though, too. But at the same time, give us something to actually go on, though.
yeah, yeah,
At least update people on what's going on.
mm-hmm, yeah. And that I believe that if I was them, I would. Yeah, I would just give something out there, but usually if they're that quiet, they're going to do a big release about something, or they just have no news they want to release out yet. Uh, there's got to be, in the movie world, there's always a real reasoning why something has happened and why something has not happened.
Right.
There's always something there. Now, whether we will ever find out the truth, probably not. But you know,
This is true as well. So let's go on ahead and go into our last story that we have. And this is basically Stan Lee's MCU cameos could return using CGI and old footage after New Deal. This comes from ScreenRant.com. And after a New Deal, link between Marvel Genius Brands and POW Entertainment, Stan Lee's Marvel Cinematic Universe cameos could return with CGI and old footage. The long-running comic book franchise has built its foundation on a number of iconic characters created by Lee and artist Jack Kirby, namely Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. The film have also included Lee and Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and their most successful Marvel character, Spider-Man, which has now technically been played by Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland within the MCU, thanks to the Spider-Man No Way Home. And then we also have, they're also saying Lee's involvement with the MCU wasn't regulated solely to the use of his character, as the comic book creator would become known for making cameo appearances in every MCU title, as well as other Marvel adaptations, including Sony's various Spider-Man franchises, Fox, X-Men films, and Disney's Big Hero 6. Though Lee would die in 2018 at the age of 95, and he did film a number of films of cameos before passing, being featured possibly in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame. Well, MCU films and shows have taken to include Lee with the help of posters and magazines in various locations. It appears the future may now have a very different plan. The Hollywood Reporter has brought word that Marvel has signed a massive 20-year deal with generous brands, International and POW Entertainment joint venture, Stan Lee Universe, to license the likeness of Lee in future films and TV production, as well as Disney theme parks, merchandising, and more. The new deal does open the door for Stan Lee's MCU cameos to return in the future with the use of CGI and old footage, though the inside source note that decision has yet to be made by the studios involved. Genius Brand CEO and Chairman Andy Hayward wrote about the deal in the following statement. It really ensures that Stan, through digital technology and archival footage and other forms, will live in the most important venue, the Marvel movies and Disney theme parks. It is a broad deal. Though Lee's MCU cameos were one of audiences' favorite parts of the long-running franchise, the possibility of the late comic book creators' return via CGI and old footage is sure to be met with divided response from fans. Disney previously tried to a similar tactic with Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and a Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker to include Carrie Fisher. And I'm going to get to that in a minute about what the difference is with that. Grand Moff Tarkin, for their stories, both were met with very mixed to negative responses from critics and fans alike, with the CGI described as delivering an uncanny valley effect and the ethics of reviving late actors, for films being called into question. So here's the thing with this. And there's a difference between deep faking and CGI and doing what you're doing with this.
Yeah.
And there's a difference here. Deep faking is basically you're taking an image of someone's face that was once young, Luke Skywalker, for example, and you're putting it onto this person's face. That's deep faking. What you're doing is, I understand you want to keep Stan's memory alive. I understand that perfectly fine.
Right.
But you're benefiting money and making money off of someone that's dead.
Right.
That's where I have the problem with.
Yeah. It's kind of like, all right, if they were just doing it in a few movies, you know what I mean? Just like a sprinkle of, like, look, we're just going to put a little, Stan here in this movie, and maybe in the next couple movies we'll put a little bit of Stan, and leave it at that, and do it tastefully. Don't make it like, disrespectful. Just make it tastefully. Like if, and it's like, oh, look, there he is, wow, that's type of thing. But when you start talking about merchandising that, and there's like figures and Funko Pops or whatever that, and to me, that's taking it too far. That, to me personally, it's like, look, I think honoring somebody like that, for example, Harold Ramis in Ghostbusters, that was so tastefully done. That was the
Mhm.
most beautiful, tasteful thing that I've ever
No
seen in
dialogue.
film. Yeah. And so it's kind of like if they can approach it to being tasteful and not money, type thing of, oh, you got to come see this movie. Why? Because Stan Lee is in it. We've, done movie magic. And why? It's like, that would piss me off, honestly.
Well, look,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, Crichton, but remember when the family members were treating Stan like crap
Yeah.
before he died?
Yeah.
Now you're talking about the Stanley estate in a sense, because now
Yeah.
you know the estate is probably going to want money from that if
Yeah.
this thing goes through.
Yeah.
And now they're benefiting off of his death, and then the studios and stuff like that is also benefiting off of his death. The theme parks are, you have this whole circle of people benefiting off of someone that's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's like,
And I'm
I mean,
fine if they just show Stan in the background, or if they show something like
sure.
that, no dialogue or anything like that. But to have him talking, and even then though, even if you have him in the background too, I'm very mixed on him, like lukewarm with that type of thing,
Right.
because of the fact Harold Ramis's estate is fine. He was
Right.
treated fairly. But because of what we know
Yeah.
about the estate of Stan Lee and the things that they were doing at that time, is why I don't
hmm
feel that comfortable with it compared to Harold
Yeah.
Ramis.
Yeah.
It's,
And really, who they should ask, and I swear to you, this is exactly who they should ask and let a decision be made with this one person is Kevin Smith, because Stan Lee has said it to him before, and there's been Jason Mewes and other people has where Stan Lee told him, said, I look at you, Kevin, as a son I never had. Uh, you know, and Kevin Smith just absolutely, when, Stan passed away, yeah, I mean, it destroyed Kevin Smith. I mean, he was just lock, stock, and depression, like if he was your real dad. And if they're going to profit or do something, they ought to ask somebody who he thought of as a son. Like, and don't mean to put Kevin Smith under the gun, but
no,
honestly, that's the way
because him
that's
and
just the way I feel.
right, because here's the thing, him and Stan had major respect for each other, especially whenever
hmm
on the set of Mallrats,
Yeah.
and that's where he actually made his cameo appearance. And him and Stan just had a collab. When you have that chemistry with somebody, it just hits.
Yeah.
And the one person that would actually understand is Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
But to
hmm
benefit off of this person's death and sell
Yeah.
merchandise, I don't feel comfortable with that. And like I said,
Right.
there's a difference between deep faking, which is just basically I
Sure.
used to call it the Benjamin Button special effects
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
doing things,
Yeah.
and CGIing somebody's face on top of that person, even though that person is not who they really are. It's just Mark Hamill's face on somebody else. That's
Right.
fine because you don't have dialogue. All you're doing is mimicking somebody's movement
Yeah.
versus talking and
hmm
speaking.
Yeah.
No.
I
And
mean,
you also bring up a good point though too, Crichton, with the pops, because at first I didn't think about that, because back whenever he was alive, I was like, okay, I'm fine with that because of the fact he's not dead or anything like that.
yeah.
But I'm not going to say that you should go ahead and remove all Stanley pops or anything either,
Yeah.
because we as fans want to have something to close to our
Sure.
hearts about with Stan. So, but
Yeah.
also too, you're also feeding the machine. So it's like, damn if you do
Yeah.
and damn if you don't kind of situation.
Yeah. hmm
You
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, I agree. And it's just you know, like if I was watching, I don't know, a new Marvel movie, whatever was coming out, and and if I saw Stan Lee in the background and one of the main star or the co-star, whoever was in this Marvel movie, just kind of walked past him and bumped this person, and he was like, "Hey, man!" And if I heard that old "Hey, man," you know what he would do or something, I would be like, "Oh, wow, that's sweet." They took the from that audio of that. I could live with that. It'd be like that would make me smile to be like, well, that feels like you're paying a little homage to the guy, that
Right.
gave us this stuff,
But this isn't the first time that I heard something about this. I don't know if you remember they were going to do the same thing with James Dean.
What?
They were going to, but it was going to be 10 times worse though. They were going to make brand new movies with James Dean.
Good grief.
Yeah, that's going a lot further.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to really dive into it, because this is not the first time I heard about it. Something like this.
Yeah.
This is actually my second time hearing about a studio that wanted to benefit off of somebody's death by CGIing, not deepfaking anything. And if you want to learn the terms of deepfaking and CGIing, go ahead, look that up and everything, and you'll be able to find what you want. But and I'm talking to the audience, but as far as this goes with James Dean and Stan Lee, no, let them rest.
Yeah,
they lived a good life.
Yeah, that's right.
Let them rest.
Yeah, let them be and let their legends live on. And that's the way I look at it. And it's just, I don't know. To me, it just seems like it's a bad call. I think if they did it, or if they did it anyway, they're going to catch a lot of heat from a lot of people about it. I mean, it's
the way I see it too is if they do this with Stan Lee, you're going to lose the fans.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the fans. The $1 billion machine that they once were is going to be gone. Not saying that they're not going to lose fans now, because here's the thing. We actually had mixed reviews with Doctor Strange.
Right.
And hold on. We actually have a comment real quick. TJ John, may have a video for you to check out about this very topic. It's about how studios could use a deepfake to have actors appear in the movies without having to pay them. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. Send that over to me, and I would like to actually do a continuation of this. That would be great. Just DM me and my personal page, man. Go on ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Because I would like to actually cover that. That's just sad that somebody would actually benefit off of somebody else's death like that and not even pay them. That is really screwed up.
Yeah, that is.
That goes to show you how ass backwards that some people are thinking.
Yeah.
Use my language, but that just pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. But all I can do and say is I hope they make the right decision. Honestly. I really, really do. I hope they don't. It's not some idiot that's got a lot of power and it's like, yay, we can.
I'm sure Kevin Feige would be respectful.
Yeah.
And he's a decision maker.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that he would actually might decline or have some type of clauses into the contract. Everything too. I was like, okay, well, you need to go ahead and readjust the contract out and everything too. So that's another thing that you need to think about is the contract. But I do want to bring out this one thing though about, like I was mentioning before, there were mixed reviews with Doctor Strange, and and not with movie reviewer. Well, even with movie reviewers like me or fans, there was mixed reviews.
Yeah.
And everything too. And I've also talked to my brother-in-law and everything. He goes, I'm starting to get a little bit of comic book fatigue.
Right.
As an audience, because he's just an average moviegoer.
Yeah.
And he goes, you mean to tell me I have to watch all these Disney Plus shows?
Yeah.
And keep up with everything. Because I don't have time for that. I said, either that or you just bring someone like me and I'll just explain everything, break everything down to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand that. I can understand
Yeah.
people straying away from the content, though,
Yeah,
in a
because
sense.
it's too much. I mean, to keep up with. I mean, it's like,
Because,
good
for example,
God, you know?
even with Brandy, for example, I was like, "So, do you want to watch some of the MCU movies?" They're
Yeah,
the,
right.
and she's like, I like them, but I don't like them enough to go through the whole entire catalog and crunch through on them. It's like lifting
Right.
weights and putting a 100-pound weight on it when you only can lift 10 pounds.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is too much for me. I'm gonna have to slowly digest this, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But but this is just going off the fact that yeah, they can lose business with doing something like this with Stan Lee, and then also too,
Mm-hmm.
you also have the fact that this is not for some people are saying, oh well, this is not cohesive. The MCU is not cohesive right now because of how everything's being run with the Disney Plus shows, plus what they saw on Doctor Strange. But my thing is this, and I'm just going to give you everybody a little insight, a little bit, and just to think for a minute, just to question this, and let it stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to get you to change your minds, but if you think about the very first Iron Man, if you think about the very first setup, that wasn't cohesive.
Yeah.
That was just a setup for other characters. And
Yeah.
this is them setting up certain things. So therefore, at the very beginning of phase one, there was not really a cohesive uh, shared universe just yet. It was just
Yeah.
them setting up the
It
puzzle
was just,
pieces.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
think of it on that narrative.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to, but I'm just thought of some things lately
Sure.
that,
Yeah. Because,
but yeah,
it makes you think, I guess, collectively about it all, from from the first Iron Man to where we are now, and it, it's it gets kind of confusing, really. It does. I mean, and that's not coming from just me as an old man, but like from people that's your age, John, and people that are even younger. It's kind of like, well, wait a minute, what happened between that, between this and this, and it's like,
right.
well, if you've got about 3 weeks of your life, you can watch all of this in order for about 3 weeks and you'll get it. And it's like, no,
And by the way, after this, I'll be teaching in a Marvel MCU class where you can actually
yeah.
match up all the timelines, and that would be a 5-hour class.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding,
Get the discount code. Maybe Love is Your Night at Skillshare,
right? But anyways, that's everything that I had wanted to cover as far as this goes, man. I do appreciate you coming on the
Yeah.
show and everything. I really do appreciate that. Guys, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, comment button below, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button on the bottom right-hand corner, let you guys know when we have something new coming out. Get yourself some stuff from my merch store. We have t-shirts for crying out loud. For crying out loud, get yourself a t-shirt. The link is below. I have all the stuff that you need to follow me in the links below. You know what to do. And always until next time, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. Thank you again, Crichton. And have a great and safe night, everybody. And bye-bye.